All right, let's jump right in. There's this huge economic story playing out across Africa that, honestly, doesn't get nearly enough attention. It's a story about ambition, about entrepreneurs, and about a massive, massive funding gap that's holding back not just half the population, but the entire continent. We're talking about the gender finance gap.
So, to really get a sense of the scale here, let's pull back and look at the whole world for a second. The estimated finance gap for women-led small and medium businesses, it's a jaw-dropping $1.7 trillion. That's not a small number, it's a canyon.
Okay, now let's zoom in on Africa. Here, the problem is incredibly specific and sharp. Women entrepreneurs are facing a funding gap of $42 billion. Just think about that. That's capital that could be building businesses, creating jobs, and really powering economies, but it's just out of reach.
And that brings us to our first big idea. This isn't just about fairness, you know? This is about a colossal, multi-trillion-dollar missed opportunity. It's about the incredible cost of all this untapped potential.
So, of course, the big question is, why? Why does this huge gap even exist? The usual answers point a finger at the banks. But, as we're about to see, the real reason is, well, it's a lot more surprising than you might think.
So really, what is going on here?
Okay, so the common view, the story we always hear, is all about the supply side, right? It's the bank's fault. They deny loans because women don't have the usual collateral, like land. Or maybe the interest rates are just too high. And look, that's definitely part of the picture, but it is not the whole story. The deeper truth is actually on the demand side. It has to do with women's own perceptions and behaviors.
And this quote from the African Development Bank just hits the nail on the head. Their research found something fascinating. It's not always about banks saying no. In a lot of cases, women aren't even applying in the first place. They are, in her words, self-selecting out of the entire system. So, what's behind this? What's the psychology here? It really comes down to a low perceived creditworthiness. It's this belief that you're just gonna get denied no matter how good your business is. It's a really powerful mix of discouragement, a fear of failing, and generally being more risk-averse. And the craziest part? This happens even when the banks aren't actively discriminating at all. But of course, this feeling, this self-perception, it doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's propped up by a whole range of other very real structural barriers that give us a much more complete and, frankly, more challenging picture for women entrepreneurs.
I mean, take the digital divide. We live in a world where finance is going digital fast. But in sub-Saharan Africa, women are 19% less likely to even own a smartphone than men are. That right there immediately cuts them off from mobile banking, from digital credit, from all these essential tools.
And the hurdles just keep stacking up. You've got social norms that can limit a woman's financial freedom. That collateral issue? It's very real. Less than 15% of land in Africa is actually owned by women. A lot of the financial products out there just aren't designed for them. And all of this gets worse when you factor in lower rates of financial and digital literacy. It's a whole system of challenges.
So, when you're facing a problem this complex, what on earth is the solution? Well, the good news is there's this new, really powerful toolkit for change that's starting to emerge. And it goes way beyond just traditional aid or simple loans.
At the heart of this whole new approach is something called blended finance. Now, the idea is actually pretty simple, but it's totally revolutionary. You use public or philanthropic money, the kind of money that can take on more risk, to basically make these projects safer and way more attractive for the big-time private investors who would normally just stay away. And this puzzle image, it's the perfect way to picture it. That public or donor money is like the missing piece. It doesn't have to fund the entire thing. It just has to be the catalyst. It has to be the piece that removes the risk so the whole picture suddenly looks complete and really attractive for that much, much larger private capital to come flooding in.
And listen, this isn't just some academic theory. This approach is gaining some serious momentum. We're seeing major global initiatives like the 2X Challenge that are funneling billions into what's called gender lens investing.
I mean, just get a load of these numbers. The 2X Challenge has consistently just smashed its goals. First, they aimed for $3 billion and raised over $11 billion. Then they targeted $15 billion and raised over $16 billion. So in total, that's more than $33 billion mobilized. And now they're aiming for another $20 billion, and for the first time, they're bringing private investors directly into the mix. This is serious capital getting to work.
But, money by itself isn't a magic bullet.
It's about building a whole ecosystem of support. You see partnerships like the one between the African Guarantee Fund and Women's World Banking, and they're tackling the problem from every single angle. They de-risk loans for the banks, they train the banks on how to better serve women, they provide direct mentorship to the entrepreneurs, and they push for better policies at the government level.
So, what's the ultimate prize here? What happens if we actually close this gap? The impact is, and I'm not exaggerating, transformational. It creates this massive ripple effect of inclusion. The number is almost tough to wrap your head around. Closing this gap could unlock up to $300 billion in annual GDP gains for Africa. This isn't just a little bit of growth. This is fundamentally reshaping the continent's entire economic future. And that $300 billion, it's not just a number on a spreadsheet. This is the real return on investment. It means more productive farms and better food security. It means thriving local industries and more jobs. It leads directly to kids getting a better education and families and whole communities being healthier. It's simple. When women are financially empowered, everybody wins.
This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? This isn't a nice-to-have anymore. It's an economic imperative. It is the single most direct path to creating prosperity that not only includes everyone, but is actually built to last.
So, we're really at this critical moment. We understand the problem in a new way, we have the tools like blended finance, and the capital is starting to move. The question isn't if we can close this gap anymore. The only question left is, how fast can we put all of this to work?